This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. I got a question about the deadlift and the squat. This guy here says that his, it's hard to read these names. These names are always retarded. Zenith 4165, that's the best thing you can come up with. Anyway, Zenith, if that is your real name, says basically that when he tries to do a squat, when he tries to do a heavy squat, that it turns into a good morning. And that his deadlift is nearly twice as much as what he squats. And he's frustrated with the squat. He's had his form checked several times, and he thinks it's in check. He thinks it's okay. Well, I got news for you, buddy. Your form probably sucks. And whoever's instructing you probably sucks even worse. There's a lot of different fallacies out there about how to squat. I don't pretend to know all the information about how to squat, nor do I pretend to be a great squatter. But I have squatted over 1,000 pounds many times in competition, and I know what it's like to handle some big weights. I've squatted over 1,000 pounds in 2 different weight classes. My body weight's been up and down many times, so I know what the leverages start to feel like as you lose weight. I've also squatted in single ply gear as well. So I know a little bit about the squat, and from coaching people and training people over the years, and training at Westside Barbell, and seeing what some of those guys are trying to do and trying to accomplish, I got a pretty good understanding that you can't coach everybody the same way. That's the biggest problem with the squat, is you see everyone, it frustrates me and drives me crazy, because you see everyone saying, oh, you got to drive your hips back to initiate the squat. Well, that's the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life, because what if your hips are already back? What if you're an athlete and you have an ass on you and you got some hamstrings on you? What's the point in pushing back from the beginning when your hips are already back? Now they're just going to be further away from the barbell. Does that sound like a great idea? Sounds fucking stupid to me. Sounds really stupid to me. You want to keep your hips underneath the barbell. For most of you out there that are athletes, that are built like an athlete, that are built like a sprinter, or built like a football player, and you do have an ass on you, then you're going to want to keep your hips a lot more forward. I always try to tell people that you're trying to show who's ever in front of you your belt line, your belly. Once that starts to disappear, what that tells me is that your hips are further and further away from the barbell. So once you get to that point, there's only a couple things that can happen. Either your knees can come forward, or your hips can continue to move backwards. And for those gifted athletes that can really squat deep and really nail an Olympic-style squat just the right way, they can kind of maintain an upright posture without getting too far forward. And so you have a lot of variables in the squat. You got a lot of different types of people trying to squat, and you have to account for that. You can't just ignore it. You can't just say everyone's got to squat the same way. That's asinine. So first thing that you need to do, if you're doing a good morning when you squat, is you need to stop doing that shit. You need to put your hips more forward, and you need to control the weight with your ass. You need to flex your ass as hard as you can when you unrack the weight or when you're set up to squat. By doing that, by flexing your butt and keeping your stomach tight, you should be able to keep your hip positioning better throughout the entire range of motion. You want to initiate the squat slightly at the knees. I don't recommend that to everybody, so don't everybody fucking flip out. Relax. Take a deep breath. There you go. Initiate your squat a little bit at the knees and then drift back into it, because if you start drifting back with your hips from the beginning, your hips are going to be too far away from the barbell. You want everything to be straight up and down as you possibly can have it. Watch SuperTraining.tv. Watch some of our guys do it, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Watch Chuck Vogelpohl squat. He's the master. He's the king. He knows what's up. Dave Hoff's 1,200-pound squat is pretty impressive, where he keeps his belt line real forward throughout the range of motion without getting too forward on the knees. So that's the kind of stuff that you're going to want to start to incorporate, and those are the kind of cues that you want to try to implement. You're going to have to really flex your butt hard and you're going to have to really work on keeping your body upright. Lastly, the best thing that you can do to strengthen this is good mornings would be a good start, but also get into that range where you start to fold over, where you start to good morning your squat up. Get into that range. Get into that range and do a lot of work. Do like 10 sets at that weight. There's a couple of ways of attacking it. You can do kind of a West Side style, and you can do 10 sets of 2 or 10 sets of 3, or you can go more on the Eddie Cohn style and just have it be your main movement or / assistance movement after you've gone heavy already, and do 3 to 4 sets of around 6 reps. Maybe even do some pause squats where you pause in the hole and then try to fire back up. But make sure you're firing upright. Make sure you're not firing your ass first. Another way to tackle this is to do chain squats, where you squat into the chains. Again, that's something that you can view on supertraining.tv. Squatting into the chains can be really valuable, because what you'll see is someone will come down, and then they get to the chains, rather than drop the hips more, they'll just drop the shoulders. And then they think they're getting to parallel or close to parallel. And it's like, dude, you never dropped your hips. You just let your back go. You just got sloppy as fuck and let your back round over. So you want to really sit into that pocket of strength, and the only way you can do it is to really force those knees out, and like I said earlier, control the weight with your ass. Your ass holds the key to everything, if you can believe that. That's it from supertraining.tv. I hope that helps.